Hey, Pete.
Hey, man.
Your chair in the pod cave is gathering dusk. You coming home anytime soon?
Hey, I'm gonna be back, man. Keep it warm for me,
All
please.
right. All right. I'm Adam Maness,
And I'm Peter Martin.
and you're listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Daily jazz advice coming at you from around the globe.
From around the globe. Now, last time we spoke, you were in Colorado. Where are you at tonight?
Yeah, right now I'm in beautiful Palo Alto, or actually Stanford, California. Palo Alto, I think.
Palo Alto? So,
I
okay,
don't
so
know,
the
one of those,
connection looks
right
a
at the
little
border here.
grainy, which I'm a little disappointed in Palo Alto. You would think that they would have like
Because,
perfect high
yeah,
speed, you know what I mean?
I think either like the Facebook campus or the Apple campus is sucking all the internet out of my Wi-Fi in my hotel room. But it's good to be back with you. And it's we had a little funny thing earlier today that we were back and forth, and I was very excited because I thought this was our 200th episode, and you
Yeah.
informed me that I'm off by a little bit.
Yeah, it's like 282. We
That
totally
was close.
skipped the
It
200.
feels like 200, man. It feels like
We're
200
gonna
to
have
me.
to do
So
it up for 300. I'll tell you what.
that's right,
Yeah,
right. Well, yeah,
yeah. So today I think we have a speak pipe, right?
yeah. We do. So let's get to it. Is that me playing it? I
Yeah,
think
you
it
got it.
is.
Hi guys, Josh from Melbourne here. Love the podcast. I've been listening to a bit of Chick Corea's music recently, and I just wanted to get your thoughts on his style of playing, any album recommendations, and just your general thoughts about his music. If my memory serves correctly, I don't believe you've spoken much about his music on the podcast before. I could be completely wrong, and if so, just ignore this question. But if that's not the case and you haven't spoken much, I'd love to hear about your thoughts about his music and how he goes about playing the piano. Anyway, keep up the good work. Always listening. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Josh. And are you actually always listening now? Have you listened to all 278 episodes to really say that
Yo,
we've never mentioned Chick Corea? Possibly.
282. 282.
Oh, 282. Sorry, I'm already forgetting. No, thank you so much. I'm just joking. Josh, thank you. Love the accent. Love Australia. Love Melbourne. I love Australia, but like Melbourne is my hands-on favorite city in Australia. So that's always fun
Man, I've
to,
never been,
to
and
hear from
everybody says
somebody.
that. Everybody says it's like art capital of Australia. It's dope.
Dude, there's I can give you a list of about five things off the top of my head that are so great in Melbourne. Any one of them individually would keep you from ever coming back to your beautiful family. You would leave
Oh
the
man,
coffee,
uh,
the vibe, the architecture. Yeah, it's great.
I'm a
So
sucker for all that. All right.
it's super cool that we have listeners there.
Yeah. Well, and thanks, yeah, Josh, for that. I love Chick Corea, and I know
Yeah,
you are a huge Chick fan too.
man,
And
you sounded kind of defensive there. I think he put us on the
well,
defensive a little bit,
yeah.
right?
I mean, I realize we might not. I feel like he's been in most of our like top 7 lists in some way.
Right.
Like,
But certainly he has been, I think, underrepresented because really, I mean, I think that in terms of his impact on the music and impact on me and probably you as
for
well.
how much we rip him off.
Yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
mean, if we're not talking about him every episode, we're under talking
It's so
about him.
true.
So
Yeah, we're playing him every gig.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a great kind of reminder, and I think I actually heard last night we had a really fun event right in the space where you are now in our open studios. We had our very first live at open studio event, and we had Jeff Keezer, the great Jeffrey Keezer, the legendary Jeffrey Keezer, and his
That's right.
trio. And he actually told me a little story about Chick Corea as we were getting some work done on the piano. And he said that Chick Corea had told him recently that what he's doing now is if he's going to some city that they don't have like a kind of usual piano or one that he knows at the venue or something, or there's some kind of choice. And instead of being like it has to be this brand or this model, he always says, talk to the technician, or he wants to talk to him or have his people, and the best technician in town, whichever piano they think is best. Like that's and I was like, what a smart
Super
thing,
smart.
and that's kind of coming from Chick Corea. But yeah, I mean, Chick Corea is I always kind of end up lumping him together with Herbie Hancock, which is a nice place for those two guys to be lumped together.
Yeah,
And
they're
they've, of
contemporaries.
course,
Yeah.
they're contemporaries. They've recorded together. They've toured together. I saw them a couple
Oh
years ago on
man,
that great tour.
those duo concerts are so good.
Yeah, and that's so fun because I mean they did it years ago, and then they did it. I'm saying a couple of years ago, maybe it was like 4 years ago. But
Yeah,
it's that's the kind of thing that can really be a gimmick. You know, it's like who wouldn't want to see Chick Corea and her? And then sometimes it can be a little underwhelming. It's
yeah,
not exactly 100% plus 100%. But their thing is like they both were going places that I never really hear them go. So
yeah.
they seem to really enjoy it and inspired by it.
That's great. You know, for me, Chick is always defined by the two albums that like I played on repeat as a kid, which were "Now He Sings, Now He Sobs" and "Light as a Feather."
Yep.
You know, I mean, those are two of his most classic recordings, and I'll never ever forget. I mean, I could still picture it now in my like '84 Chevy S10, popping in for the very first time on the way home from like Borders in Sunset Hills. Like "Now He Sings, Now He
That's
Sobs" into my. It wasn't even into the console CD player. This was the
right.
90s, so I was a CD player, but it was a CD player that was like sitting here, and it went to a tape. You know what I'm talking about? Remember those?
Yep, of
And like
course, of
went into your
course.
tape player and connected to your CD player so you could play CDs.
Yep.
That's the first time I heard "Now He Sings Now." That's a very vivid, lengthy description of me putting on a CD. But it was, I mean, I was just like the very first, when he comes out of the gate in Matrix, I'll never ever forget it, you know.
He was in Matrix too. That dude's been everywhere,
It's
man. The
amazing, man. It's amazing.
Matrix Revisited or first Matrix?
No, the first Matrix. No, you know, it's like an F blue. It took me like a week to realize it was an F blues.
I
You know what I
know. This
mean?
is like the
Embarrassingly.
hippest F blues
It
ever.
really
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two records for me too were like huge. I actually the first record that I heard with Chick Corea was the Mad Hatter though. That was
Oh,
like the
yeah.
first LP, and actually Diane Davenport had that record. Diane Davenport is Jeremy Davenport, a great trumpeter and friend of mine for many years growing up. She had that record in her collection, and when we both sort of started getting interested in jazz, I was going through, and what drew me to it was the crazy outfit and everything that he had on. In that, that's Humpty Dumpty's on there
Yeah.
and Tweedledum and just a bunch of cool stuff. And the record's so cool, like the liner notes and the picture and everything. But it's really just talking about this and for you. Well, as soon as you mentioned Borders, I already could figure out the rest of the lineage of what you were saying. I already had a picture of that anyway. But it's great when there was a time when a play like a how you got the CD or the LP or whatever,
Right.
and then it puts you back in there with the music and everything. And how that, of course, just hearing it too puts you back there.
Yeah,
But it's like I
kids.
can almost imagine it how it sounded.
You couldn't just like open your phone up and just find this new record someone recommended. You had to like wait a couple days where you had a break and go to Borders and pick up the album.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
That for me, "Now He Sings, Now He Sobs" probably the most influential and just one of my favorite all-time recordings.
Right.
Yeah, and the thing with Chick too that I love to think about is like he has some techniques that you don't see other pianists. First of all, like I always when I see him live or see a video of him, like his hands never match the sound to me. I always feel like he should be like this,
Right.
but
Yep,
it's
yep, yep.
so smooth. You
Right.
know, like his hands are just gliding across, and he gets this percussive attack. And I'm like,
Yep.
man, how are you doing that? And then the other thing is how much left hand follows him up the keyboard on some of these
Right.
runs. You know, that's inspiring because I don't do enough of that.
Yeah, his stuff is the way he integrates his hands is a very unique way that he does it. And a lot of it is, melodically, there's very little separation, if any, between what he wants to do. And I
Yeah.
think that I just was remembering the first time I saw him live, and maybe I saw a video or saw him on TV or something, but I think it was probably live. And I'd listened to his recordings and stuff so much. I had that same thing, what you just mentioned, that I was shocked that he was moving so little. Like his economy, I realized later it was like really advanced technique and that the economy of motion of what he wanted to do. But everything that I'd heard him play, and even especially like on roads and stuff, like he had so much nuance to the almost percussive side of the piano and the roads and stuff, and that how he would attack and put his phrasing together really with that articulation that you just assume that it's all like wild finger and hand gesticulations.
Yeah.
And he's so like control it. So at first I was like, oh man, is he like sick or something? But then I'm listening, I was like, whoa, no, it still sounds killer.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily look like that. And it just shows you like, if you get that really good technique ingrained in you, and for him it was probably at a pretty young age and stuff, and then be able to create the sounds that you want to with those different things. You don't have to change up your so-called correct technique that much,
He's got this snap in his sound, right? But he's not snapping his fingers. He's making the hammer snap the string, with this really efficient motion. It's really amazing. So incredible.
Yeah. Another memory I had about, this is so cool to kind of just hear this and respond because, Spain was such a pivotal thing for me at that time, because that's actually, I heard the tune before I actually heard Chick Corea or even knew who he was, because I was in middle school and our high school jazz band.
Oh yeah.
Played that
staple.
The staple, especially during that time. It's still a staple because the charts are still around because they cut the funding to the school. So but that was a hard arrangement they played. And Todd Williams, great saxophonist, I remember took this. I mean, Korean, the composer, I didn't know he was like a pianist. I was like, he's some big band composer or something,
Yeah,
and then when I kind of realized he was, and then started kind of going down the rabbit hole of records that he was on, again, kind of looking first at different recordings that he was on and stuff and seeing that. But that song just compositionally resonated with me so much. And I mean, if you think about it, there's a reason that's kind of been a hit song beyond just high school bands. But I think it's very smart, if I was ever directing a high school band, that tune and a number of tunes like that some people would be like, no, you got to give them like the real deal and you got to start them with older and that's fusion or whatever. I think that's BS, because it's so advanced compositionally, and at the same time there's so much for a younger person, a younger musician to just hold on to and kind of you're holding on for dear life a little bit, but it really gives you a lot melodically and rhythmically, and such a cool thing.
It sounds cool.
It's a perfect entree.
It's an aspirational kind of thing, I think, for musicians at that level. You're right. It's very cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Josh, for the call. If you would like to leave us a message and see if we can speak about your favorite artist that we underrepresent on this podcast.
I like the seething bitterness that's just coming across via the internet.
Bro, I just had to reassemble our podcast. So no, I didn't do any of it.
That's
actually. But you can go to you'llhearit.com. You can leave us a message. You can leave us a voicemail. You can get some You'll Hear It swag. We got the T-shirts. I think we're about to get some 7-star T-shirts up in here.
Hello.
You know what I mean?
Is that going to fit? That's going to be the extra large and XXL only. We're on the mediums and smalls, we're going 5.
So look out for the 7-star T-shirts. And when are you getting back, Pete?
I'm getting back just in a couple days. So
okay.
I'll be reunited with you very shortly in the podcast. I was just going to say, though, that folks, if you have some interesting Chick Corea stories, we want to hear those too. And maybe you could go to youtube.com, boom, HTTP, boom, youtube.com. And find today's episode, as are most of our episodes, unless we're part of a pending lawsuit, will be available on YouTube, that our attorney, Andrew, is defending us in. But otherwise, you could go there. We're getting some nice little, I don't know if you've made it over the comments yet. I know we got a lot of different places we have comments, but I dove in last week, a little bit earlier this week, and had a lot of fun. And some really nice folks, some avid listeners. And that's a fun place to kind of talk about the episode. And we'd love to hear your feedback.
It's definitely
not yours, Adam.
Okay.
Well, I'd love to hear yours too. I'm saying for the people. Go ahead.
You'll hear it.
I cut it. Wow. Nice.